Okay, so as an introduction to example 2, we will do another straightforward example so that we can get the idea of what is happening when we complete the square. So, first of all, we check that the a value is equal to 1. We have that. We have our b value, alright? But the c value is not the right c value. In fact, they will never give you the right c value. You have to complete the square by finding the right c value. So we start off by saying x squared minus 2, and we get that 4 out of our way, and we take it to the right. Alright? Now, I have an incomplete square on the left, but I'm going to complete it by finding the appropriate c value. Apologies, I left out the x. So we are going to say b over 2, and we square that value. So we go b over 2 squared. In our case, b is negative 2, which will give us an answer of 1. So what we do, it's positive 1, so we say plus 1 and plus 1, so that we undo our actions, right? And now at this point, my perfect square trinomial is complete. So I'm going to open up my set of brackets. I'm going to put my square. The sign comes from the middle term. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 1 is 1. And on the right, we have 5. Now we're almost done. So now we square root both sides, so that we're left with x minus 1 is equal to, don't forget this step, positive negative 5 plus minus root 5, alright? And then we just have to get rid of the minus 1 by saying x is equal to plus minus root 5 plus 1, okay? Just to emphasize, the two solutions we have here, the one is when we use the positive root, and the other solution is when we use the negative root. So if you want to go ahead and write both of it, you can say that x is equal to root 5 plus 1, or x is equal to negative root 5 plus 1, and that is the end of the start. We will now do example 2, where the a value is not 1, and we have to get rid of whatever is in our way. Okay, now we do the second example. We examine what we have. The a value is in fact not 1. So your first step is to divide everything by 2. Okay, so we divide every term by 2 because that's still in the way. That way we end up with x squared minus 3 over 2x minus 7 over 2. Now don't fret because of the fractions. The process is unchanged. Alright, you just have to go with it until the very end. So, as usual, that 7 over 2 is not the c value that we want. So you need to go to the right hand side. So we go x squared minus 3 over 2x is equal to 7 over 2. Right, now at this point, my perfect square trinomial is not so perfect. So I need to go find the appropriate c value by saying b over 2 all squared. Now, because b is a fraction, you are going to have to type it in your calculator the right way. So we're going to go negative 3 over 2, which is our b, over 2, and we square that value. Alright, and on your calculator, you should get the answer. Let's see, of 9 over 16. Alright, so if you type this in, you should get 9 over 16, which is the c value that we want. So I add the 9 over 16 over here. I also add it on the right so that I undo my actions. Let me just corner this off. Okay, now at this point, all we need to do is open up our brackets, put our little square, use the sign of the middle term. What is the square root of x squared? It's x. What is the square root of 9 over 16? Well, that is going to be 3 over 4. Miss, how did you know that? I'll show you. So the square root of 9 over 16, we can write as root 9 over root 16. And of course, that is 3 over 4. This is a third law that you should be familiar with. So we just give the third to the numerator and the denominator. Alright, then on the right hand side, this simplifies down to 65 over 16. Now we're almost done. To get rid of the stuff in our way, we just need to go ahead. Let me clean this up a bit. We need to go ahead and get rid of the square. So we say x minus 3/4 is equal to plus minus the square root of 65 over 16. Okay, almost done. Now we need to go add 3/4 on the right hand side. So x is equal to plus minus square root 65 over 16 plus 3/4. Now before you finish off and think that this is the end, 16 is a perfect square, so we can find the square root of 16. Okay, so the square root of 65 will not change. We'll leave it at that, but the square root of 16 is 4, and then we say plus 3 over 4, right? So that the final answer over here, because we have the same denominator, the final answer is plus minus root 65 plus 3 all over 4, right? So if you think you are done and you have that square root and there's a perfect square, then you are not done yet. You need to simplify it a bit further. All right, so our final answer in this case is plus minus root 65 plus 3 all over 4, and that is example 2, done and dusted. So again, the a value was greater than 1, so that forced us to divide everything by 2, right? That introduced fractions into our sum, but the process stayed the same. We had to calculate the c value and add it on either side, left and right, and then we followed the process of solving, and from there we got to our answer, and that is the end.